back, everyone. This is episode 3 of the LaceUp With Mickey podcast. Today, we have Armando from Delicias Del Rancho. How are we doing?
All right. How's everybody?
Armando is one of my oldest customers. He's dealt with all the problems in our app. He's helped us grow along the way, and we've also helped him grow his distribution company. The purpose of today's podcast is for him to share his story, how he's grown a company from nothing to what it is today, the difficulties that he's encountered, the process along the way, and what his plans are moving into the future. So, Armando, the first question that I have for you is, how did we get to this point? How did Armando become Delicias Del Rancho?
Okay, I was in the business for about 30 years. And then for the second time in my life, I lost my job. The company that I was working for decided didn't want to do business with us anymore. So I went home and I cried like everybody does. And then my wife told me, you better get it together and get it ready. So we had a child, Amanda, my daughter. That was a big motivation. And we decided just to go ahead and found Delicias Del Rancho and go forward, something that I knew how to do very well. I started with no customers. I had some relationships on the market, people that liked me, people that knew me, and that I thought I might have an opportunity for them, they will give me an opportunity. So that's what we did. I jumped on the truck, I got a lease, I got some inventory on a warehouse, and we went out and started making deliveries and solicitation of the new business.
Okay, and the product, what type of product you saw?
The product that I've always been working are cheese. It was something that I learned a long time ago. I started noticing that the Mexican, the Central Americans, a lot of nations, they use cheese in all their recipes, and a staple item for their table. And then it was very interesting. It was high volumes, and it was very unique type of product. So I figured if I could get that unique flavor profile for that niche market, I had an opportunity. Obviously, I wasn't going to be able to compete with the big boys with mozzarella and stuff like that, but with very specific items. But for this niche market, I thought I was going to be able to be successful.
Okay, so like us, when we started, right, the idea was brought to the table by my uncle and his partner Ignacio. My uncle had started using the software with his old company, and they got together and they're like, you know what, there is a market for small distributors. If we build this and we give it to small distributors, this is something that could work. So I want you to touch upon, would you say that the fact that you started with a niche of Latino, let's say Latino consumers that like cheese, right? Would you say that was your launching pad to where you are today?
Yes, definitely. What I was going after, living in a city like Miami, we have people from all walks of life, everybody from Central America, Mexico, all the way to South America. So I know that small niche market wasn't being attended by anybody else, not on detail, and I thought that was something that I could develop. And I needed to find the correct flavor profiles, and that was our beginning. Our beginning was starting with the Nicaraguan community, Colombian, everybody that was in town that we thought it was going to be able to appreciate a cheese with the correct flavor profile.
Okay, so you found your niche. Now I want to go back to something you said, right? You had been fired from your job.
Right.
You leased a truck.
Right.
I would imagine at that point you took a risk, right? You didn't have a lot of money in the bank at that time.
I was very, very scared. I went and I rented a truck. The payments were like $2,000, which I thought at that time was all the money in the world. But you have to risk an egg in order to make a chicken. So that's the saying I said. So I went and I did it. I didn't know I was going to pay for it. So if it was a necessity, it was my daughter looking at me and thinking about her future, a leap of faith. And then we went and rented the equipment, and like I said, a small warehouse. We started on a flower place because I couldn't get the warehouse that I needed with refrigeration. So we rented a place that it was full flowers, and we put the product there, and that's how we started.
Okay, so how I know you, or how I've always known Armando, is as a assassin salesperson. The best, because you're super friendly, you get along with people, you make people laugh, right? You have a good sense of humor. So I want you I want you to explain to the audience how it was that you utilize those sales skills, right, to grow the business from nothing.
I got a different way to approach sales. I gotta convey to my customer how is he going to benefit from buying my product, and instead of looking at how am I going to benefit by him buying my product, want to let him know how the store or the restaurant or the supermarket is going to benefit by having the items that I'm carrying. The sale comes forward. Then we only need to talk about prices, so you have to be competitive with prices. You make up a little bit of that by being friendly, as you said, by making them laugh. A lot of people spend 8 hours sleeping, 8 hours with their family, and the rest of the time they spend it with their vendors and with the salesmen. So you want to come across pleasant. You got to understand everybody can have a bad day. You got to utilize that. It's just not pushing and convince them, and never misguide them. You have to give them something, and you got to be honest. And you got to really study the store or the restaurant that you're going to sell the product, because you can sell it the first time, the second time they're not going to talk to you if you don't do your homework.
Yeah, and I want to correlate that back to our business. The reason why we do business and we sell to people is because when they come into the demo, we're honest with them, right? We explain to them, look, here's what our software does, and here are the problems that we're going to have during the implementation. We're straight up with people. And the goal is to get you from where we're at now to a completed project with no problems, okay? But along the way, there's going to be a couple speed bumps, and we employ this honesty, right, to make the customer feel comfortable. Once they feel comfortable, once they trust us, then they always sign, and that always makes for a long-term relationship. Anytime we've done a project where we weren't 100% sure we could make it work for the customer, guess what? It didn't work out. So the importance of honesty in sales is critical. Otherwise, you're just not going to be successful, because like you said, you'll lie to the customer the first time, you'll get the money. And a lot of our competitors do that. They lie to the customer, they get the money, but then what happens when the customer figures out you're full of shit, right? They dump you.
I've been here since the beginning. LaceUp was not a perfect program. It helped me big time because I was a driver and an accounts receivable and everything. So without the program, I wouldn't know what happened in the warehouse, who owes me money and everything. Like I said, about 5 years ago, the program, it wasn't perfect. Every time we have an issue, we go over it, we fix it, and this is a cleaning process. You start, nobody knows exactly what's going to happen on the field, when the printer is not going to connect, when you're going to have an issue, when you have items by weight, when you have items, they are cash weight. When there are units, when you need to break down a unit in order to make a sale on the field. So every single step that we did, we went through troubles, we deal with everything. You were really upfront, tell me that you were in the build-up process. And during the last 4 years, my phone calls for issues, they I almost never talk to you. Yeah. And that's the idea, because only in the field, there's no programmer that can come up with all the answers. This is a rolling, these are issues that happen on the go, on the fly. Because of weather, because of sales, because of credit, because of damaged credit, because of a return to the factory, because of all kinds of issues that you have to deal as you go with it. So that's what LaceUp helped me a lot. As I say, I've been here since the beginning, and I don't think I would have done it without it. I just had a really good friend who counted my boxes, who invoiced my customers, and saved all the information, and then transferred to QuickBooks. That's like 3 people working for me there.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask, as a follow-up to that point, the importance for you, like had it not been, I mean, back then it was me doing the support, right? I remember you'd call me 6 a.m. my time, because I was in Vegas and you were here, and you'd call me at 8, 9, 10 p.m. my time as well.
Yeah.
It was morning. We always had 2 sessions every single day for the longest time I can remember.
I can remember you stopped on the side of the road helping me at 7 o'clock at night. And you said, let me pull over because I can't drive and do this and getting stuff fixed. We really appreciate what you did for us back then. It was a lot of help.
Well, and that segues into the question, right? What if I wouldn't have done it? That's the important that the audience has to understand, that service is the most important part of every business.
It's more I could tell you something about that. At the beginning, long before I did this, I was in a restaurant business. There was a guy who would come and sell me tomatoes for $8, and the guy used to come and bring me tomatoes about $12. The guy that bring me the tomatoes for $8, sometimes he would show, sometimes he didn't show. Sometimes he would pick up the phone, sometimes he didn't pick up the phone. The guy who charged me $12 for the tomatoes, I could set my watch by the time he would arrive to my restaurant. Service, especially on a service business, is very, very unique because you know, your customer's not gonna wait. So you need to have an answer, you have to work, and if you don't have the support, you just dead on the water, and that creates resentment. And then eventually you just start looking at other options, and that's what I avoid, and that's what this company succeeded because of that, because of the service. I mean, you have a bunch of, at the beginning, you have a bunch of little tiny businesses that really, they have the skills, maybe not even to work for the program, but you stuck with them, and you helped them, and you put in your time and sometimes inconvenience, and now that's where you are now.
Well, what about from your perspective, like in the distribution world, right? Like you said, it's super important to be on time, to answer the phone. Before we jumped on this podcast, you took a phone call from a customer for an order.
Right.
So talk to me about the importance for you as a distributor to give good service.
You need to make the difference, and the service is money. A lot of people think that your product is too expensive or less expensive. Expenses is related to the product that you sell, the quality that you sell, but along with that, it comes service. A lot of people don't have the time. A lot of people are very, small business, especially small business, are very overtaxed the whole day. You know, they can't attend to that. So you have to take that out of the table. Bringing the product to you, attending to your needs is my responsibility. I'm going to be by the phone. I'm going to attend to you. You attend to your employees, attend to your customers. Leave me the other stuff. I'm going to do that. When you do that, you can have a salesman come and knock on the door, not from the sky, but the guy really already has the sky, has the heaven, and has somebody reliable. And so you block anybody else that comes to compete with you. Service is something we never figured out when we do an Excel and trying to figure out cost of a product to create your cost, your selling cost, but you should be added in there. When you go out of your way, when you pick up the phone, all that, people appreciate it. You do, and everybody else does. And it's a big equation. It's just not dollars and cents. Service has a value, and you have to sell that.
Yeah, I think you can't put a value on the people behind the service, the people behind the business. The other day we were having a demo with our sales manager, and the lady goes, "Well, why are you charging me $3,000 up front?" And he says his spiel, and when he gets off the phone, I tell him, "Ryan, what you need to respond with is service and the people behind the product. Whenever they need something, you're going to be there to answer their call. Whenever you have a problem, you're going to fix it, right? Whenever you have a request, you'll be there to consult the customer, right? Those are things that our competition doesn't do, and that's what makes us different, and it's what allows us to charge a fee like $3,000. And in your case, I'm sure giving good service allows you, in some occasions, to charge a little bit more for the products that you sell.
And I do, and I stay on business because what I'm saying, I think it works. The service, when you are desperate, when somebody forgot to order the product, and your restaurant stops or your supermarket has a space that's empty, that should be making money, and then you have this young lady asking you, "I came all the way from my house for here, you don't have this product," and the guy calls you. It's an old type of situation. The guy is gonna know he owes you. It's the thing that you help me, I'll help you out. So you're not a company X, you are Mickey.
Yeah.
Because you're there for them. So it's very difficult to break a relationship. This is what we do, is about relationships. This is how people develop the business. If you are a ghost on a store, I could go and take you out in a minute. But if you're Mickey, the guy who likes baseball, the guy who does a joke once in a while and smiles, it's very difficult for me to pick up the phone and cancel you and tell you not to come back, because I already have a human. The humans are like that. We have a relationship. The relationship is very important. If you go to the store, you put the product on the shelf and you leave, and I want that store, so I'm going to get it. It's going to take me a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, but I'm going to get it, because it's very easy for the manager to call you and say, "Don't come back." He doesn't know who you are. So you have to make that personal connection. It's very difficult when companies grow, and as I'm growing, I'm trying to maintain that level of personal touch with the customer. And it's very difficult, but if you are able to maintain that at least at a level, your customer always going to remember the phone call that you were talking about is somebody that after 4 years is used to calling me. We have an office, we have people who pick up the order, we have a salesman, we have a driver, but she likes to keep that personal touch. That's a customer that I'm attending to. It doesn't seem like it makes any sense. And whilst we grow, it's going to be less of them. But when she calls, I have to pick up the phone. I owe her that.
Okay, and that makes sense because certain customers, I still answer their phone call.
Yeah, I did.
You have to.
You have to.
I don't think, I mean, it gets to the point when you get big enough where you can't take all of them anymore. Because if you do, now you're sacrificing your time to grow the business to answer a problem when you have fully equipped people in the office to answer that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you have to, when one of your original customers calls in, when somebody who you have a relationship with calls in, you should at least give them the courtesy of giving them a text back or calling them back later on. Whatever you have to do, call them back. Now that segues, or that's a good segue into the next point, because in order to maintain a continuously growing customer base, right, you need more employees.
And your employees have to become you. You have to copy them. That's very important. That now that you break in a direct relationship with your customers, that your employees become you. You have to multiply. That's the way big corporations work. You have to copy yourself, which is proven success model, and have your employees take that responsibility and build that relationship with your customers. Every single one of them should be able to be Mickey at a level. Obviously, everybody likes to talk to the owner, but if they have a good relationship with your computer programmer, with the guy who solves the problems every day, and they know their name, and they're always pleasant, what they call, that is a transfer of power. That's how I think, the way I grow. I have somebody in the office, my wife is very friendly, and she's very good with names, so I'm transferring her my customers, and then she picks up and she calls them and she knows whose birthday it is, and then when she runs out of space, I have to get somebody that can do the same job and try to be a person on the other side of the phone, which is what everybody's looking for. Nobody likes talking to machines or anything like that. You need somebody, a friendly voice that is doing whatever is possible to get you out of a jam.
Yeah, and I think that comes with two components. One, it's innate to some people, like it's natural for them to be that way. And secondly, obviously it requires training. So the question for you is, I remember back when you were getting started, you had some problems finding some good drivers for you. So,
the drivers and the employees and in general, it's a big undertake. I don't look for a driver because the guy used to drive and I see I look personality. It's very important to do personality. Wow. Some people go out of their way to please somebody, and that's natural, and you don't have to teach them that. You encourage that, you build on it, but they have that natural responsibility, they're responsible, they're friendly, and there's some people that you cannot make them do it. So finding a good driver, a good salesman, a good office person, a good phone person is a very difficult task. You have to research, sometimes you have to suffer because you can get the first person that comes through the door. But once you find the personality and you can read that, if you can hire them and keep them happy, that's how you build your business. You cannot have people in the wrong position. It's very, very important the person that you bring is fit for what they're going to do. It's key. It's human nature. You can whip them if you want to, but if they do not want to do the job, if they don't feel comfortable with what they're doing, you're not going to be able to have a long-term relationship with an employee that is doing something that he's not happy about.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, I think I've learned that you know whether or not the guy's going to work or not based on their personality in the first week.
Sometimes we do it because we are in a rush, and then you hire the wrong person. You're always going to live to regret it. You have to wait. You have to do their job for another week until the person that walks in, is the right fit for the job. Sometimes you feel it here. Sometimes she's able to communicate during the interview. But if you not do that correctly, you can never grow. You can never pass on the baton to somebody else because you're not gonna succeed. You're gonna start having problems as you grow.
Yeah, and it happens to us because sometimes you get a resume that's overqualified. Right. Boom, 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 80 years of experience, all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
And the problem is when you come and put them in the component, in the job that they're going to be doing every day, they don't excel.
Right.
And the important thing that I've found is it's always hard to hire because people can lie, people can mislead you, and it's natural. It's human nature to pump yourself up in an interview. But what I found is that you have to be very good at firing people, being fast. Mm-hmm. Being like, okay, this guy, he's not a fit within our culture. He's not a fit here at the office. He's not going to be able to produce, right? So I've learned that I've learned the hard way. And I've learned it by putting people in positions, watching them fail, and then me having to go in and do their job
And
again.
it's very painful job. To fire someone is very painful, but people misrepresent themselves.
Yeah.
And then it's very funny. I found a lot of very smart people that don't have any common sense, and I have people that have common sense, but they don't have. It's just human nature. There's people with all kinds of skills. I seen a lot of programmers when I had a problem. I was looking for a program to run my business. They didn't get it. They were very smart. To what do you want me to do? But they didn't get it. The logistics, the problems, the many ways that where an issue might develop into. So you have to find the right person for that. Definitely in firing, I was saying again, it's a very difficult thing. But if you do not find the skills to do this, and if you made a mistake on the interview, you don't you don't make your decision quite quick, then you create unhappy people, and it shouldn't be like that. It's very difficult to do. It's a difficult thing to do for me is to have somebody let go, because the family, everything depends on, and they already. But you have to find the right people, and then nurture them. When you find the right people, you have to nurture them. Sometimes we go out of our way to help our guys. We lend them money or whatever. It's not culture. That's not the right way to conduct business. But they become kind of like a family. It's a family affair.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, you've got a team, you've got your business, you've got recurring customers because of good service, but we missed all of the problems in between you leasing that truck and getting your first warehouse and your business now.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the problems, the biggest problems that you encountered between those two times.
Okay, I go in a rented truck, so now I'm driving. I know I'm start visiting my customers. I see that they're responding to me. They remember me. I'm asking, begging, whatever you want to call it. Business is everything is possible. And then I'm seeing that I'm growing. But what's the problem? I have a problem with the inventory. I have problems with my own time. I have problems attending to new business because I'm on the truck driving. There's no way you can do both at the same time. So how do you grow? If you're doing an 8 or 10 hour route, how do you grow? How do you visit a new customer? This is on sales. It's usually like a chase. It's a hunt. When is the guy going to be there? When is going to be the best time for him to see you? And then you're going to be across town. So we hire part-time people to try to do sales. We use the phone. We let sample with notes. Everything that we could do. It was very difficult to grow and do both things. As soon as I was able to have someone on the truck, then I was able to do a little more sales, and as soon as I have somebody to attend to my bank, and I had less time to go to the bank. But you got to go over those hoops. You have to be able to find the time. You get very creative because you don't have, you do not have the time. So at the beginning, it's very, very hard. A lot of motivation. My daughter, my family, my future. Getting a little bit mature, I'm not going to use the word old, gave me the motivation that at all costs I was going to succeed at this. And if you have that type of commitment with yourself, a little luck and God on your side, you usually make it. Well, just gotta apply yourself. Really, really apply yourself. That's what it takes.
And what did a typical work day during those times when it was harder, whereas maybe you on the truck, you doing the deposits, you doing the sales, what did a typical work day look like in terms of hours?
I used to put all hours. So get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, pick up the receipt from the day before, organize the money, create a deposit, put a deposit, hide it on the truck somewhere because that's all the money I had, put it inside a box and put it inside the truck, start making deliveries. In my mind, I was planning to be at such address, which is near my bank. Go pull the truck, whatever I could park, because banks are not very friendly to big vehicles. Go make my deposit, do the line, make the deposit, attend it to the phone, get back on the truck, do the other stops, leave samples at the stores that I'm trying to get into in between my route, make all the routes, finish by 8 o'clock at night, go back to the warehouse, unload the merchandise, see what the new orders for the next day were, get that ready, eat something, go to bed, and start all over again. We were doing 6 days a week. Thank God we're not working Saturdays anymore, but it used to be 6 days, just like that. Eyes closed, go all day long.
Unbelievable.
It's the only way to do it. I needed to do everything. My wife was keeping a job because I wasn't enough at the beginning for me to support her. Now I have her working for me. Well, actually, I'm working for her, but I have extra help and good help and trustworthy help. So that takes a lot of your mind, and a lot of the time it's not physical. You tired, but your brain is the biggest thing. You get just exhausted by all the mental work and the worrying, and you know. Sometimes I didn't know what's on the bank until I needed to pay. Then I go and I find out I had enough. Thank God.
That's awesome. So now that we're through that hard part, right? Can you tell us about what Delicias Del Rancho is up to now? Like, what are you doing now to grow the business?
Okay, Delicias Del Rancho has a good foothold in the Miami. We could call it already a South Florida market. We service a lot of businesses, restaurants. We're very big on food service and retail, and that growth there, it seems to be very slow. So what we decided is we built a cut and repack room in the city of Pompano Beach. We went through all the hoops. We went to the city. We got permit from FDA. I called them. I didn't no hiding, everything up front, and then we started building private labels and retail items for ourselves. At the beginning, I started building an item, whatever the item might be, put it on the market, test it, make sure there was an item that it will work, that will sell. Once the item is proved, then I will offer it to somebody else that they could do the same thing using their own labels. A lot of people up there, they have little businesses. Everybody knows that the value on a distributor is the label that you own at the time of the sales, where the people are going to ask you, do you own anything that you sell? So you need to have, it's very important that the stuff that you sell has your own name, because that's something that gives you the value. That's what it's going to be offered when somebody's trying to buy your business. So there's a lot of people up there with a dream to do it, but they don't know how to do it. So that's what I'm doing. I'm doing private label for small companies. I help them out. Most of the time, they can buy pallet fulls or anything like that. So we work with them. Most of my customers, it started very small. I can relate to the story. So I help them out, you know, build them this item. We research the market. We look for the product with the flavor profile that they're looking for, whatever niche market they're going after. We get the private label, we cut it, we repack it, and we send it to them. We give them support. We give them hats if we have to, and that's how we're building our business. So my distribution is growing, but out in all the states, I have all the distributors with the same dream, maybe even the same position that I was 4 years ago. And then we help them grow, and if we create a relationship and it's some type of loyalty, these are people that are gonna help us grow. We're gonna grow together, we're gonna go forward. And instead of stepping on top of each other, we're going to be together, and together is what gives you power. When you're together and you have a business plan, and that's how you go forward.
Yeah, and I think the cool thing about that business model, I've got a customer in the City of Industry, California. They do the best chicharrones in the world, okay? Old entrepreneur, started the business, the original owner, the dad, I think in the 50s, okay? Wow. Around the 70s, he put a label shop in the factory, in the manufacturing plant. And he started doing private label of his products for all the supermarket chains, for everybody. And it turns out that private label business ended up being bigger than the manufacturing business.
Some people do better distribution than others. I could go and buy a truck, for example, and go and move to Charlotte and open a little warehouse like I did here, and then start doing the distribution. That's me trying to expand my company. I have another model. There's somebody in Charlotte, they already know the customers. They has a friendship with the customers. They has the report with the people that I'm going to sell the product. To break that for me is going to take 6 months, 8 months, a year, whatever, at a cost that nobody can really say. How about if I meet with that guy, and I let him distribute us the product that I'm producing? It's going to make you grow so much faster if you find the right clientele, and we can grow very quickly. So now I'm selling product in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's not going to be my label, but somebody's moving the product, and that's how you do it. Is have 100 stores, and I find somebody in Winston-Salem, and I find somebody in another state, and go to Maryland, go to whatever. So the model that the chicharron company that you're telling in California, it's a model that works, where you got to find out people that are serious, that are business people, that want to grow, that are hungry, that are eager to do it, and put our heads together and move forward. It's a model that works very well. We just got to find the correct partners to do it, you know.
Yeah, and it's unbelievable because it definitely feels like it was you had a goal now to find a way to scale
Right.
and have more distribution without all the upfront cost. So,
Exactly.
so that was, I assume that was the idea. And then you came up with this private label. Then you made the facility to do the
Right.
private labeling. And now, instead of calling customers to sell them Delicias Del Rancho, you're calling customers to sell them their own product, which
Exactly.
makes the barrier to entry much lower, I assume.
Right, I found I started traveling the country. I did it before when I used to work for somebody else, so I knew there's a lot of Don Julios up there, and Pablo, and mi abuelo, and all these people. All these people are sometimes packaging these products instead of doing sales, what they do well, and instead of doing the distribution, they're trying to grind cheese and put it in a bag and put the label. At a reasonable cost, I could do that for you. And then you can spend 2 hours when you're a good salesman, when you're up front of a company, and you spend 2 hours trying to pack some cheese, you're wasting money because your value is up there getting another 5 customers. They're going to sell $5,000 with 30% margin, that's $1,500. So actually, stopping by and packaging your products costing you money even if you don't realize it. I could take that out of the equation and allow you to do what you do best, which is visit your customers that start selling these products, and I will do the rest of the job for the right price. I try to be fair. I know what the market value and what you can get for an item at the end consumer is, so I just charge a reasonable amount, and I get you up there doing what you do best, which is making sales. It's like you here. You could save money if you start cleaning your office, but you will probably be best if you're on the phone or in the computer trying to get another client in California that it could bring out revenues to this company. The 2 hours you spend here actually will cost you maybe $500,000. It could be because you could have been on the phone and landing a big account.
Yeah, and I think now we've talked about, okay, so we've talked about past.
Right.
Okay, we've talked about present.
Right.
Now my question for you is, where do you see your business and this industry? Right, and for those of you that don't know, we're referring to distribution, food manufacturing. Where do you see this industry and you going in the next five years?
I like a lot what I'm doing new. I'm always going to keep the heart of the company is my distribution, my customers base. You always want to have that security, and I'm never going to let that go. I don't care about money. That's the heart of the company. But the new steps, my growing, I see it a lot in the story, like you said, the guy in California. We bought equipment, now we can add flavors, we can change acidity in some items, we can change the way that they melt, how they're presented. So we are working with the Brazilian market, we're building stuff for the Mexicans, we're doing a lot of stuff. And then the equipment is there, and the people that are hired are there to change flavors, to infuse flavors, to change types of presentation, different types of presentation. I think my company's going to grow there a lot, and I bought the biggest warehouse. I thought I was going to need it, but that might be erroneous. I might be needing some more space because the concept really works. It makes a lot of sense to do it like that. So in the future, I think we're going to have a factory where we can prepare items with specific niche profile, flavor profile for a lot of people all over the country. And we're already extending all the way to Texas and all the way to Maryland. In the small markets that we can go and find, and if you're serious, and if you do have nice logistics, and if you do what you say you're gonna do, and you attend to your customer, I think we're gonna grow tremendously in that sector. And my distribution as well, but the distribution is probably gonna go at a small, lower pace. The big customers, the people that are willing to do business with me, and that I'm going to be able to help them, they'll help me, I'll help them. I think they're going to bring bigger numbers and bigger revenues for Delicias Del Rancho.
Yeah, and I think that's super important what you just said, because you can't lose touch with the original business model.
No.
That started putting money in your pocket, and sometimes it happens to us. We start coming up with all these ideas. We're like, what do we do? But we forget sometimes that the business that allowed us to have all of this in the first place was LaceUp, as is now. I feel so strongly that I call it betrayal. I don't think I can betrayal. I can not attend to these people that gave me life. They breathe into my mouth in order to give me life at the beginning of this. So I will
I don't think I will never do it. You know.
Even if you're making $100 million
I
elsewhere,
don't
you
care.
can.
I think the distribution will be, and I think I still be picking up the phone for some of these people. It's just, it's funny that way, but it's just the way it is. You have to be grateful. You have to be able to recognize who lends you a hand at the point when they lend you a hand. So it's very, very important.
Well, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Armando, it's been an enlightening conversation. I want to tell the audience before we go where we can find your business. Do you have social media, a website? Talk to us about where we can find you.
We have a website, www.Delicias Del Rancho USA. Since we doing some exports now, so we use .com, obviously, USA.com. I'm in Linklet. On Facebook. We are in the city of Pompano Beach. Very easy to find. Just all the information that you might need and everything that we're doing is probably very clear on the website. And I will give you my number if you need to call me. It's 305-200-9449. Nobody's too small and nobody's too big. I'm sorry. I could talk to anybody. If you have anything, if you have an idea, if you think, if you're going to ask me if I could do something for you, I will be honest. I'll tell you the truth if I can do it or not. If not, I'll give you a direction which way to go. It's no problem. The sun comes up for everybody. So you want to call me, you want to talk to me, you want to tell me you don't believe it, you want to tell me that you like it, feel free. It's a free country.
Okay, and what I'll do is I'll go ahead and link everything down below in the description. Name, phone number, website, everything, so you guys can reach out to Armando. And apart from that, it's been an extremely enlightening conversation. I love listening to your journey because I know it. I know it from the outside, but I participated a little bit.
You took me back in a journey. I know you participated. You knew how we started it, and you knew I was sitting outside at Sedano's at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I don't remember how to turn off the phone or something happened, and I'm calling this guy who is in
Las Vegas.
In Las Vegas, which is probably like 3 o'clock in the morning there, and I'm calling him, and he's picking up the phone. It's pretty amazing.
Well, thank you, Armando. I appreciate everything, brother. And thank you all for tuning in. We're going to try to do one of these podcasts a couple times every single week. Tune in for the next one. Take care, guys. Talk to you soon.
Thanks. Good. Best of luck.